Let's welcome on our guest line Scott Koteskey, who, again, as a Donald Trump supporter, was in Washington, D.C., celebrating the process. Hey, Scott, welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. How are you?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks for having me today.
How's it feel to be famous now that you pulled out your cell phone and captured this amazing exchange?
It's pretty crazy considering all I did was pull out my phone and hit record, yeah.
What a mean, nasty, angry woman. Walk us through, because you started recording at about the point where the flight attendant intervened. Can you tell us what happened before you started recording?
Yeah, when I was just walking down the aisle to get to my seat, and I came across this wife and husband who were in the aisle and the middle seat, and I put my bag up in the overhead and kind of smiled at them and motioned that I was, to take the seat next to the window. Mm-hmm. And she just had a very stern, very angry look on her face from the get-go. And before I was even able to get to my seat, she had asked me, did you come here to cheer or did you come to protest? And I just said, I came here to celebrate democracy, ma'am. And just immediately at that point, it was 0 to 60 in absolutely nothing, with insults and browbeating and just about everything you could imagine.
Like what? What kind of things was she saying to you?
Well, she said, shame on you, you and all the cockroaches that voted for Trump. You should be ashamed of yourself. She called me fat. She said, F you.
Wow.
She had flipped us off.
What's the husband doing, Scott?
He's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And, I'm not here to disparage either of those two people. I wish them the peace and love of Jesus Christ. But I don't know how long he's had to deal with this type of behavior in their marriage. So I kind of pitied him, honestly, as everything was transpiring.
Me too. I mean, he's actually, this is what's so classic. There's so many great takeaways from this video. He's like picking at his shirt or his sweater nervously. Like he cannot, like, oh boy, here she goes again. And so when the second flight, there's so many rich moments in this video. When it becomes clear they're going to kick them off the plane, he says something. He finally speaks up and says, something to the effect of, if I can get her to quiet down, can we please stay? Maybe we can move seats and and she'll be quiet, right? I mean, now they're trying to make an appeal to get to stay on the plane because they can't believe that the airline is actually kicking them off.
Right. Well, it was directly from the captain that she was to be removed from the plane. So at that point, the flight attendant could not. There was no negotiation that could possibly take place.
It was too late. That cow had left the barn. And then she tries, which I thought was such a despicable tactic. We're coming back from my mother-in-law's funeral. My husband lost his mother. Have you no respect? I'll bet you almost flipped out when you heard her, after the vile things she had been saying to you, plead for respect from the flight attendant.
Yeah, that was a pretty ironic statement to hear from her mouth.
Wow. I mean, this was now, and then here was the greatest moment of all. After all this was going on, finally they get her to get up and get the husband up, and they remove them from the plane. Another person across the aisle from you was videotaping that portion, and that's online too. Here's what it sounded like. Let me play this for you. I mean, Scott Koteskey, what's amazing to me is she seemed genuinely stunned that she would have to face any consequences or any pushback for her appalling behavior. This mindset that the left gets to run over us any way they want is now changing. That, to me, is the beauty of this story.
Mm-hmm. And, like I said before, I wish her and her husband well. I wish no ill upon them. But she definitely had hate in her heart that day. And we don't know what she was going through or what she was feeling. But it was definitely seen in the actions and what she said upon me and the fellow passengers on that plane.
Well, and I'm going to say, and Scott, the reason I wanted to have you on is because I noticed something, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I noticed on your arm you have a tattoo, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
And I noticed that tattoo, and that's why, because your behavior was so calm, and you were so impressive and so, frankly, Christ-like in not lashing out, not yelling back at her, cursing her, calling her any names. Your tattoo is the symbol of the fish, which of course symbolizes the bounty and the blood and the of Jesus Christ, right? That's the symbol you have on your arm, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a follower of Jesus, and that's just what I wanted to show her that day was just, the love of Jesus, what he commanded us to do to every other human being.
Wow.
That, and I also knew that if I just stayed calm, this situation would iron itself out. And
it did. And it
couldn't
did
come back at me in any way.
And she had to get off the plane. And you couldn't really hear her from the other person's cell phone video, but she was taking a whole bunch of parting shots at you when she had to get her bag and get up, right?
Yeah, she was. She was just saying, shame on you, multiple times. And she turned to the gentleman behind us and said, shame on you. And that was all she had.
What a sad situation. And that husband just sitting there with an anguished look on his face. I mean, think about it, Scott Koteskey. He's got to wake up next to her every day. I mean, holy cow.
I could only imagine.
Scott, what did the airline say anything to you after all this happened? I mean,
Alaska was awesome. They offered me basically anything I wanted on the remainder of the flight. They were accommodating and warm. And I tweeted a shout out to them yesterday because they really do deserve commendation for this event and how they handled it. They were great.
Alaska Airlines, they did a great job. Yeah, because some airlines might not, although I have to also hand it to JetBlue. They did the same thing with that nasty couple that went after Ivanka Trump on a JetBlue flight. Same exact thing. Removed them from the... See, these kinds of things are starting to happen. In other words, the left isn't the only voice anymore. And they don't get away with what they used to get away with, it seems to me. And that, it seems to me, comes from the election of Donald Trump as president of the United States. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think, a big problem we see is, the emergence of these social justice warriors.
Right.
And the problem with social justice is you're taking away from the word justice.
Right.
We can't hold people accountable for because of what race they are, what creed they are. We have to hold each other accountable for our own personal actions. We cannot detract from the word justice. That's a big problem.
Scott, you're my personal hero, buddy. Congratulations. I hope everybody follows you. If you have a Twitter account, go to you're at Scott Koteskey, Koteskey, because I know a lot of my listeners will want to thank you personally for your courage and for your calm Christian demeanor. You're an amazing guy, and I'm glad it worked out well, and I'm glad you were treated well by Alaska Airlines. And thank you for sharing this story and what you went through with the world. At Scott Koteskey on Twitter. All the best, Scott. Keep fighting the good fight, okay?
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
God bless you. I appreciate you joining us. Scott Koteskey with an amazing story and you'll want to see the video. We have it posted at MikeOnline.com. It's all over the internet. It's on our Facebook fan page for the Mike Gallagher Show. We tweeted it out at Radio Talker Mike. The ending when that nasty woman has to get escorted out is it's one of the most fulfilling, satisfying things you're going to see in a long, long time.